Mpanyinfoɔ bɛka wɔn asɛm sɛ ɔbɔfoɔ na nenam egu apa so. Justice Atuguba APP nsɛm so paa during the public lecture. Now one key information we release sisi a issue regarding the Dormaahene and a Judicial Review Committee. Yɛbɛkae a nkyɛn biara na Dormaahene ekɔgyina bedwam ebie nsɛm so ɛfa Nolly Prosequa case a no all catch Attorney General say on filing Nolly Prosequa regarding Jachi Kwesi case. Na eno the Nsem-Pii political actors ne political commentators bebree na they reply ebai. And yet nyane nti doing daily graphic publications say ya Fred Dormaahene akọ Judicial Review. Na nsɛm ɛkɔso ho Chief Justice kra kugina bedwe mu ka say sa political commentary undermining the judiciary and a judicial court na emboa, especially coming from omo member or the high court judge in the name of Dormaahene. Enti sadia no yenhwe ni yenfa ntutu ni yie. Enti Ghana de nkofo bebre se o niema si e yebeka ho asema enkusi aga na ade foforo asamba. We there has been a consequence to an action. And then a Justice Atuguba e bi nsem bia no say na judicial review a Dormaahene e konna no ama wenya eventual transfer from the capital of Ghana, that is Greater Accra region, to Hohoe, to Batoy, to Okudzeto and environs, Volta region. And yede Dormaahene ayede akoshe say onkodi asem eden ewo yamane transfer into ofri Bono region Sunyani environs ebepiem ewo Greater Accra eso toaso efatema motorway no so etoaso anasa fa flight from Accra to go straight to NDC for World Bank na onkodi asem ewo na was we die omadom no anase omamboa no because inkofo bebre na ka say some of the commentators ka say Dormaahene ayede kasa to say MP NDC foot soldier. Now obi also nim say common knowledge say NDC for World Bank pa any Volta region. Inti judicial review for netina no eventual notice from the man and say straight from the Greater Accra region onko PM ewo Volta region Batoy Hohoe and the environs. Now one of the most revered former justices of the Supreme Court, William Atuguba, and I'll make a comment on Paramount Chief of Dormaahene Traditional Area, Osajefo CIDA yo Ajaman Bedu II. Say Chief we a very vocal or vociferous, or also as a political actor. Now, the public lecture organized by Solidaire Ghana and the Department of Political Science in the University of Ghana, Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. I said, former Apex Court Justice expressed or you're disappointed, say you transfer no from Greater Accra, Akko Volta region. You transfer Dormaahene from Greater Accra to Volta region. Now, Dormaahene or your High Court judge apparently no. According to Justice Atuguba no, we nya the transfer notice yes you go to do my dear so ne niema na oye eboa the court system and an eventual help or them at the NDC on court one so Volta region like I say sadly we according to Justice Atuguba no very very problematic a halapa says sadly we it now, former Supreme Court Justice stressed on the points that indicate said it does not seem like Ghanaians are angry enough about the things happening in the country, fueled by the certain government. It's way there. Everyone was say or say Nibufu because Justice Atuguba and most of these persons in some way are affiliated to the voter regime one way or the other. And it's a bit prestigious to say Dormaahene a transfer no to voter region. I didn't know say the Ghana for the Omubufu. I the voter region any nipa the Hohoe voter region and yet one of the beloved regions in Ghana. And voter region is not a bad place to live at all. Ain't everyone was say Justice Tuguba say Ghana for Mbumfu say Dormaahene ya transfer from Accra to voter region. Now Kwame Nadankan and so one of the commentators of Kasai during the time Dormaahene say Attorney General and file Nole prosecute or Judicial question. So now Kwame Nadankan descended heavily on the paramount chief of Dormaahene traditional area. Or Sergeant for or CID or Adimambedi the second who doubles as assistant High Court judge known as His Lordship Justice Daniel Mensah over his call on President Akufo-Addo to compel the Attorney General to end criminal trial of Judge James Jachikwesin, the Member of Parliament for Asen North. Now, the statement in quote or the Bible said, as a matter of urgency, I am appealing to the President of the Republic of Ghana, that is Dormaahene Ekasana, Attorney General, if he has any role to play, that the trial should be aborted. The Attorney General should, as a matter of urgency, file a non prosecute to end that particular decision. Now, Kwame Nadankan making his submission, I say, I'm wondering whether indeed he has paused for a moment on why, as the paramount chief, is always in the eye of the storm. Into the eye of the storm. And no, na either the eye of the storm. Akopiem, ewo agbezeme, klekon, akopiem wo keta, akopiem ewo Hohoe, akopiem ewo Batoy, akopiem ewo voter region. Now, lawyer Paul Adom Ochre and so at the Nsem-Pii etudra during the time of Dormaahene ebe kasai yenko the Nkutiyo.
Here is what Dormaahene said, which set out everything. This is what he said.
Meka onimonyam for ba ko bi ofri Canada. I say Canada no ntena obi o. Be papa o de ato o ba Ghana beboa. Oba ya no hu nsensem bi nti. Onya amane. Na no Supreme Court here say na bato abatu e benya de bentwam. Yamubi no kure ni benkasa de same mo Supreme Court kasa gina ye no kame me collect. Come in, right. Na nenti en kama kono. Wan hwe nwa me bede sa asem ya wo ntimi nkoka bi. Na mo mesre and the Attorney General of Ghana. Where emrama ne kwane say ade bi ekoso na ohwe Ghana fo enije nim a otimi ede otwaso.
Yes, viewers. So that's very, very serious. Now, for those of you who don't know the rest of the Dormaahene is a good guy. I met him at the Sunyani airport the other day, and I made obeisance to him. Okay, he's a good guy. Nothing to do with his personality. But he's a high court judge. Those who don't know, Dormaahene is a high court judge. He presided over one of the cases of our friend Mikael, the guy who did the Fix the Country. What's his name? Oliver Baka Dormaahene. The guy was plenty. He's my friend, but he has plenty names. Oliver. But Dormaahene was a high court judge in that matter. One of those cases. Dormaahene is a high court judge. And look at what he's saying. He's criticizing a Supreme Court decision publicly as a high court judge. That is wrong. It will never happen in Westminster. A high court judge in England cannot, should not, will never ever publicly criticize the decision of the House of Lords publicly. That if he were on the Supreme Court, he would have ruled the other way. Which other way? This is bad. It cannot happen. It shouldn't take place. What is the meaning of this? Is it partisan? Is it political? Is it sentimental? We are destroying what we have built. A high court judge sits as a high court judge and delivers his rulings. He's also a chief. He can address his people, but he cannot criticize the Supreme Court publicly. I can criticize the Supreme Court. I'm not a judge. I'm a commentator. Who can criticize the Supreme Court? He's a commentator. He can do it after the case. Once the case is out, anybody can criticize. But a High Court judge cannot publicly say that, oh, the Supreme Court ruled, if I want the Supreme Court, I'll rule differently. That's very dangerous, and we should not accept it. And what is he saying? That somebody was in Canada, and what is he saying? He said, oh yeah, baby, I don't understand what he's saying. Somebody was in Canada. He knows the rules of running for parliament in Ghana. He filled a form that asked him a question. He answered the question wrongly. He answered the question untruthfully. That's the matter. Why are we sugarcoating it? Why are we decorating it? The guy took a form. He was asked, are you Paul Ademochi? He said no. But it turns out he's Paul Ademochi. What else should we do about this? Why are we using politics to sugarcoat things? All of you members of parliament, 275 members of parliament, did you not fill that same form? Why is it that all of you are not being prosecuted by Godfrey Dame? You should ask yourself that question, members of parliament. Why is it that all of you are not being prosecuted? Did you not all answer that question on the Electoral Commission's form? Fifi Kwete answered it before. Has he ever been prosecuted? James Abonsu has answered that question. Has he been prosecuted? Adamu Sakande answered that question. Was he prosecuted? Yes, he was. Judge Kwesi answered that question. Is he being prosecuted? Yes, he is being prosecuted. Why must the prosecution stop? Because he won a by-election. So the goat stealer, he didn't win any by-election. He stole a goat. He's in for 5 years. Atufosin is not speaking for the goat stealer. Atufosin is not speaking for the ordinary people who are in the courts every day being prosecuted. Recently, when people are celebrating their birthdays, they go to the court to free those on remand, to free those who are owing 2 cedis, 100 cedis, 5 cedis, and they are in for 8 years. We see that in the social media all the time. The minority leader has said nothing about it. But the minority leader says, don't prosecute Judge Kwesi, who has answered the question wrong and put himself in the line of the prosecution so clearly. What are we talking about in Ghana? What is the meaning of this? Let's go to what Okudzeto thinks about the matter. And this is how he starts. Uncle Sam says, it is wrong. It is repugnant. It is senseless. Tell me you don't agree with Uncle Sam. Tell me you don't agree with Okudzeto. He says it is wrong. It is repugnant. It is senseless for a sitting High Court judge to stand on a public platform and make an utterance of this nature. This is my view. If I were to be sitting in that disciplinary committee on the Judicial Council, I would have asked him to resign or asked that he be sacked as a judge. This is what I would have done. But what is the meaning of this? Why do we think that we have some rules to tie politicians and we have to let them behave the way we want them to behave? The president must fall in line? Where did this come from? Where did this come from? Please, those of you know the Dormaahene, tell him that he must retract that statement. He must, and we're going to remind him, he must retract his criticism of the Supreme Court. I should say it again. He must retract his public criticism of the Supreme Court. He can keep his advice to the Attorney General. He can write the advice to the Attorney General privately. He's a High Court judge. He works with the Attorney General in the same industry. He can write to the Attorney General. The learned Attorney General, this is my view of the matter. I think he may not be the only one to have advised the Attorney General to enter a nullity procedure. But that's okay. You can give him that advice. But you can't say what the Supreme Court did was wrong. What? How can a High Court judge even think of saying that?